There is a lot going on right now. But it's hard to even keep up with all of the chaos that is going on right now in college athletics. It's hard for me to keep up, frankly, with how quickly this story is moving. But for those of you who are just waking up right now, over the weekend, the Big Ten presidents began to try to make moves to cancel the college football season. They are trying to come out and aggressively attack the existence of college athletics. College football, obviously, in particular, is getting much of the attention. But this is about something much bigger than college football. Basically, if you are a college athlete, the Big Ten is trying to shut down all college athletics, basically for the fall, but I think that will roll into the spring as well if you actually look at the data and analyze the situation. And so at best, we're probably talking about a return to college athletics next year at this same time. Well, players have become aware of what is going on, and they have used this opportunity to raise up their voices with the hashtag #WeWantToPlay rallying cry. And many different players from all different sports, but in particular being led by college football, and in particular being led by Trevor Lawrence, the quarterback of Clemson, and Justin Fields, the quarterback of Ohio State. They have all come together and said, we want to play, find testing mechanisms that make sense, and let's do this. It is a massively trending story right now in the world of sports. Everything is moving in warp speed right now. You have got some political leaders that are now coming out publicly and endorsing those players who want to play. Marco Rubio, senator from Florida, is now in favor. Even before COVID-19, he says many of those pushing to cancel college football have spent years trying to kill youth and high school football as a way to end the game. They have no interest in getting to yes or in an honest cost-benefit analysis of playing or not playing. So I want to extend an offer to Senator Marco Rubio to come on the show and publicly endorse what he has done on Twitter. Any other senator, governor, political figure who wants to lend his voice to this movement is welcome on my show and is encouraged to reach out sooner rather than later. The battle is being fought right now. Your voice, if you are a parent, if you are an athlete, if you are a politician, and you are interested in college sports existing this fall, has never been more important or paramount than right now. I am opening up the phone lines. We are having a robust First Amendment debate here about the return of college athletics and why they matter and some of the extenuating circumstances. 877-996-6369 is the phone number. You can weigh in as well. Let's go in and start to take some of those calls. I'll answer any questions that you have. Straightforward. I am aggressively in favor of the return of college sports. I'm not tiptoeing up to this position. For those of you who've been listening to me for a very long time, I am not only in favor of the return of college sports, I'm in favor of the return of sports, period. I am returning to sports in my own life. My kids are playing sports this fall. My kids are returning to in-person school this week. At least my kindergartner and my seventh grader are. My hope is that in 2 weeks, I think they're recalibrating. My kids, 2 of them go to public school, and they are making a decision on the return of older kids to school on Friday. But in the meantime, my kindergartner and my seventh grader will both be in person school this week. I am also going to have my kids. We're signed up to play sports this fall. My kids have been going to camps. They have been, during the course of this summer, the camps that are open, sports camps, everything else. I am living my life as I am telling you that I believe college athletes should be living theirs. I am not being shy about sharing with you those exact factors from my own life. So people out there are like, oh, well, you're being a hypocrite. You're just sitting on the radio talking. No, I am living a public life in the same way that I'm encouraging athletes to do the same. So let's get in there. Let's take some of your calls. I believe that college athletes are safer on campus being tested regularly than they would be as a part of their seasons than they would be if they were not on campus. And certainly they are under less risk than your average college student in general. College kids are not under a substantial risk. As Marco Rubio, I'm reading from his Twitter feed right now, said 79,584 people between ages 15 and 24 tested positive in Florida. 0.95% of them were hospitalized. A tiny, tiny percentage of them died. Risk being away from school and sports far greater than risk from COVID-19. Answer is to lower their risk of infection and protect their loved ones at high risk. Let's go to the calls and get rolling here. Who is up next? Let's go ahead and take calls. Dub, who's up next?
We got Kevin in L.A.
Kevin, what you got for me?
Hey, what's going on, Clay? First of all, I want to tell you I really enjoy your segments with Shannon Spake. You got to ask her next time you have her on there. Better hip-hop album, Tribe Called Quest, Flow and Theory, or Midnight Marauders. I know she's a big 90s head. But I wanted to tell you about this whole Corona Bros thing. I want to give you some facts. Facts. There have been 100 days, not one coronavirus positive in New Zealand. So whatever they're doing, we need to do. The Corona Bros are trying to win with this, and it makes absolutely no sense. Like you said, we're not going to have a vaccine probably till next fall. So we're going to have to manage around this virus. Wear masks, socially distance, and I think these players understand that and they get it. And even when we do have a vaccine, there are going to be a segment of people that don't want to take it. So if you want to just walk into a Walgreens and get a vaccine, that's not going to be till late next year. So there won't be any college sports. We have to say enough is enough, enough with this canceling this and that. Our sports are back, and bring our college football back. Like Trevor Lawrence says, they want to play. He knows what's at risk. You know, guys are going to police themselves. They're not going to go out. They're not going to party. I've been around SC, frat row. You know, guys got to do things differently. And there's been facts. We had some outbreaks on the UCLA football team, and we had outbreaks on frat row, in fraternity row in USC. So those things happen. But like we saw before, the players got tested. They isolated. There were some positives, and, you know, we have to manage around this. And enough is enough. You got to bring them back. These Corona Bros are out of control. We want our sports back. We want to stand up to this. We want to get back to the way we live, and we know we have to manage around this. But we got to get back to what we do, what we enjoy doing. And you keep telling the truth, keep giving them the facts, and I got the crazy pills for you that you need to take after all of this madness. Thanks.
I appreciate the call. Appreciate the call, Kevin. Who's up next, Dub? Keep firing them away.
Yeah, we got Gibbs in Las Vegas.
Vegas with us. What's up, my man?
Hey, Clay. First off, I just want to say I'm totally on your side from a logic and reason standpoint. But the thing is, and this is something I thought about, I had an epiphany about not too long ago, is that there are jobs on the line, and not just jobs like yours, Clay, dream jobs on the line with these decision makers who have to tell these kids to go back to school, and back to sports. And if just one of those people die, that guy is fired. He knows he loses his job. So what he's doing is he's going, I can't have sports because even though the risk is low, if one of these guys dies, Twitter, Instagram, they're all going to bury me. Public opinion is going to bury me.
Thank you for this point. Let me cut you off. Just keep him up, Dub. Keep him up because I want to bring him back in. It's a very good point, right? In this day and age, everybody immediately is terrified of their own job. Here is, and I wrote about this, and I would encourage you to go read my article at Outkick.com. Here is the problem. Leaders of the Big Ten schools, the university presidents, they are actually making it more likely that college athletes could die by not playing college athletics than they would be if they played college athletics. Let me explain. If you are on a college campus and your sport is being played, you are being regularly tested for the coronavirus. The minute that you test positive, even if you are asymptomatic, even if the virus has just barely begun to show itself, you are then given expert medical treatment. That is what many of these athletes and their parents are starting to say. They are safer on a college campus than they are off of a college campus. And so this is important. The college presidents who are trying to cancel athletics aren't making it safer. They are just trying to protect themselves and spread the risk elsewhere. Because if these players aren't regularly being tested on college campuses, they are under greater risk of death or serious illness off campus without their seasons going on than they are with the seasons going on. In other words, this isn't about making anything safer. This is about college presidents and administrators trying to avoid being held responsible in the event something bad happens, and they're not decreasing the chances of anything bad happening. They are just simply passing the buck elsewhere, because if a college kid who would otherwise be an athlete gets sick, goes and gets grandma or grandpa sick off campus, they are likely to be asymptomatic, those athletes are, and they're not going to know about it. So we, in my opinion, cannot allow a tiny risk that is actually being lessened by playing college athletics to stop college athletics from happening. We got to be smarter than that. Can we go back to Vegas? Is he still there, Dub?
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah.
Does that make
Hello?
sense? Does the argument I just laid out make sense?
I agree with everything you just said, but the main point you made was that, well, I'm going to paraphrase. Like, basically, if one person dies, but it's not during playing sports, that's not going to be on the athletic director. He keeps his job. But if somebody dies playing sports and it wasn't even like of anyone's fault, it was just a fluke accident and it gets blamed on Corona, that athletic director is going to be blamed and he is going to be buried. So he's saying, well, why take that risk of 1 out of 1,000 people dying and me losing my job?
Thanks for the call.
Let anybody go.
Thanks for the call. I understand your point. My point is that is actually not leadership. That's running scared. And that is just passing the buck on so that somebody else is to blame if something bad happens. My point is, instead of passing the buck and not being responsible, athletic departments need to understand that they make bad outcomes less likely. And by the way, that risk is there for anybody who is on a college campus. They have already taken that risk by bringing back athletes to campus in the first place. And there have been zero significant risks among athletes that have tested positive so far in terms of serious health risk or death. There have been very, very few people that have had any kind of serious issue with this at all. But if they did have that issue, they have immediately had access to the best doctors and medical staffs in the country. And we know that catching positive tests early is one of the best ways to handle them. So if they're going to have these college kids on campus, which they are, they're already taking that risk. It's not the university president's fault if somebody gets the flu and dies. It's not. Similarly, it's not their fault if somebody gets the coronavirus and dies. It's highly unlikely, but it is likely to happen. I just tweeted out the data on young people in particular, and I'm going to share this with you because I think it is significant, all right? From February through July, 16,353 people aged 15 to 24 died. Again, since the coronavirus outbreak began all the way through July, 16,353 people aged 15 to 24, that's college age, died. Just 225 of those deaths were from the coronavirus. That is 1.37 Okay? 225 of the deaths out of 16,353 people aged 15 to 24 died. Every day, 89.8 people aged 15 to 24 die. It's awful. I wish it didn't happen. Just 1.23 of those daily deaths are from the coronavirus. Young people are not dying very often in the first place. They are dying at a minuscule rate compared to all other ways they are dying from the coronavirus. This is a fundamentally irrational response from adults that is not justified by any of the data at all. Who's up next, Dub?
We got
Sorry, we got a VIP, I think. VIP, JT and Phoenix, what you got for me?
Hey, what's going on, Clay? You guys over at Outkick have just been awesome, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, man, the thing that's pissing me off big time is that Twitter's not real life. You've preached this for so long, and all of the Corona Bros going on about it, and now they seem to be playing dumb now that their push for it is actually coming together. I know you guys, with Chad Withrow, Barrett Philly, and Joel Clyde, you guys have been talking about it, and they don't understand, and your other callers have mentioned it, the concessions, coaches, security, small businesses in the towns are all going to be affected if this stuff is canceled. And I think it's huge that it'll set a bad precedent if Trevor Lawrence, Josh Fields, and all these star players come out in favor of it and they still don't play. I think it's really going to affect college recruiting down the line that the universities may not give a damn about the players as much as they thought.
Yeah, look, I thank you for the call, and thanks for being a VIP. I think what is significant and what's at play here is this is larger than college football, and this is larger than college athletes in general. It's about how do we respond to the coronavirus. And if your response is we curl up in the fetal position and we allow the coronavirus to dictate what we can and can't do going forward, that's a fundamentally, to me, anti-American response. America is about finding a way to make things happen even when there are obstacles. The threat from the coronavirus to players is minuscule. I just ran you through the data of how many people are going to die from way more concerns and conditions. But just for those of you waking up, you're more in danger. If you've got a college-age son or daughter, they are under more danger driving to campus of dying in a car accident than they are of dying from the coronavirus. They are under greater danger from drinking too much alcohol and dying at a college party than they are from the coronavirus. They are under greater danger of suicide than they are from the coronavirus. They are under greater danger from murder than they are from the coronavirus. They are more likely to die of the flu than they are from the coronavirus. We would never shut down a college campus for flu, for murders, for any sort of car accidents, for any sort of issues related to everything that I just ran through. Because we recognize that risk, while it is real, and while as a parent, it pangs you in the heart to even think about, and I say that as someone who's got 3 boys, thinking about something bad happening to your kid is literally every parent's worst nightmare, but we can't wrap our kids in bubble wrap forever. We have to make reasonable decisions as parents looking at the risk factors that exist for them. And we don't shut down for the flu. We have never done it before. Our young people are far more likely to die of the flu than they are of the coronavirus. That doesn't mean that there aren't going to be some people die of the coronavirus who are young. That's going to happen. It's a big country. It sucks. I wish it wasn't going to happen. But we have had in this, I think, national debate, we've done a really poor job. I was reading in the Wall Street Journal yesterday, Saturday edition of the Wall Street Journal, 28 kids under 15, according to the Wall Street Journal, have died of the coronavirus. 331 died of the swine flu a decade ago. So your son or daughter was over 10 times as likely to die of the swine flu if they are a young kid than they are of the coronavirus. We didn't shut down schools for the swine flu. Big study coming out of Britain. Their schools they've studied are not a primary place where infections occur. Kids are not, this is a fortunate thing, kids are not in danger, by and large, from the coronavirus. They're under danger from many other things, okay? This is all important factual data that goes to the very essence of what we are talking about. We're going to continue to take your calls as we roll through the Monday edition of the program.